During the 2016 election, I became reawoken to the evilness in this world. I considered myself to be awake ever since I've watched the Loose Change documentary about September 11th. The documentary made perfect sense, and it made me understand that war is all about money. But at the same time, I didn't know just how evil the government's intention was. Eventually, I got married and had a son, and things like the government bombing the World Trade Centers for their own benefit didn't seem to matter. It wasn't until after I got divorced, and after I stopped drinking every second, that I began to realize something isn't right about someone lying to you. I know it seems elementary, but with that being said, if these people get to take a cut of my check, like my wife used to, the least they could do is be honest.
I think he's the worst president maybe in the history of our country. I think he's been a disaster. He's been weak. He's been ineffective.
The reason Donald Trump appealed to me was because he appeared to be honest. The reason he didn't appeal to me, though, was because he is so rich and he is in the Hollywood industry. And to me, those are both huge red flags. And it seemed like every time he talked, he would flash the number of the beast. But at the same time, I've seen instances where people snap out of the Illuminati trance that they are in, and they appear to want to do good. In fact, Kanye West woke up during this election too.
I've been sitting here to give y'all my truth, even at the risk of my own life, even at the risk of my own success, my own career. I've been sitting here to give y'all the truth. JC called me, bro. You still ain't called me. JC called me. Hey, bro, JC, I know you got killers. Please don't send them at my head. Feelings matter, bro. The way motherfuckers put money up so high, popularity, radio spins, feelings matter, bro. Feelings matter, bro. It's a new world, Hillary Clinton. It's a new world. Feelings matter. Because guess what? Everybody in middle America felt the way, and they showed you how they felt. Feelings matter, bro. It's a new world. It's a new world, Barack. It's a new world, Jay-Z. Hey, don't send killers at my head, bro. This ain't the Malcolm X movie. We growing from that moment. People, I'm not saying this out of my own well-being, because it wouldn't be smart out of my own well-being to say things like this. I ain't here to massage you with a fake truth, telling you that Hillary gonna win over and over and over. Then you wake up, you still can't believe it. You know why? Because you was lied to by Google. You was lied to by Mark Zuckerberg. You ate dinner. You asked my friend Anthony Schiller to have dinner with me. I told you about Donda. You said you would help, and you didn't. Then you went to look for aliens. Me and Kid Cudi are aliens right here, bro.
Shortly after this rant, however, he was reportedly dragged out of his home and handcuffed to a stretcher, where he once again became a zombie. Maybe you are one of those people who think that the government only lies for the benefit of all of us. And to that, I would say have someone throw some cold water on your face and then take another look.
But I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
When I was married, I never cheated on my wife, like Billy C here, and I also never called my wife by the wrong name.
Michael and I.
Is anything scaring?
You know, well, when Michelle's mad.
I can also honestly say that I never pretended to be another person.
I don't know if he's a natural-born citizen or not. I don't think the country knows what the definition of that is anymore.
After 5 years of intense investigation, which included consultation with one of America's most respected forensic document examiners and a team of European media forensic experts, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office has reached a conclusion utilizing forensic techniques both old and new. It is the opinion of the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office that the birth certificate on your right belonging to Johanna Ani was in fact used as a source document in the digital creation of Barack Obama's long-form birth certificate.
Since Obama isn't the current president anymore, you might be thinking,
what difference at this point does it make?
But with that being said, if we let these people lie to us about things that seemingly don't matter in the grand scheme of things, then we have no one to blame but ourselves when they lie to us about bigger things. The birth certificate Barack Obama released after Donald Trump pressured him into it was not only fake, but it was just 5 days before he delivered this news.
Good evening. Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
The largest intelligence apparatus in the world with the biggest budget in the history of the world has been looking for Osama bin Laden for years and years and years and can't find him. Some doofus jerk-off reporter with a camera crew waltzes right into his hideout and interviews him. So why do all these fools believe this charade?
It's all a fake. Nothing happened, said Mohammed, who's been selling newspapers here for 50 years. Shabir says it's a case of mistaken identity. He claims the man in the picture is his neighbour.
His name is Akbar Khan. He owns the house they said was Osama's house. I know him very well.
In my opinion, he only claimed to kill bin Laden to get the heat off of himself and his fraudulent birth certificate.
Recently, you've spent a lot of time talking about President Obama's birth certificate, or lack thereof. You don't seem convinced that he has one.
No, I'm not convinced that he has one. I've had very smart people say, Donald, stay on the China issue, stay on the Saudi Arabia issue, stay on the India taking our jobs, and the Mexico, which is NAFTA, which cleaned out New England. Get off the birth certificate issue.
Why don't you?
Because you know what? 3 weeks ago when I started, I thought he was probably born in this country. And now I really have a much bigger doubt than I did before.
But based on what?
And you know what? His grandmother in Kenya said he was born in Kenya and she was there and witnessed the birth. Okay? He doesn't have a birth certificate, or he hasn't shown it. He has what's called a certificate of live birth. That is something that's easy to get.
With all of that being said, what in the world happened to Donald Trump? He seemed all too aware of the Pizzagate scandal that broke from Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, John Podesta's leaked emails.
You know, it's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
He also seemed very aware of what was going on in the government overall.
There is nothing the political establishment will not do, no lie that they won't tell, to hold their prestige and power at your expense. And that's what's been happening. The Washington establishment and the financial and media corporations that fund it exist for only one reason: to protect and enrich itself. The establishment has trillions of dollars at stake in this election. As an example, just one single trade deal they'd like to pass involves trillions of dollars controlled by many countries, corporations, and lobbyists. For those who control the levers of power in Washington, and for the global special interest, they partner with these people that don't have your good in mind. Our campaign represents a true existential threat.
For someone who followed the latest election as closely as I did, I noticed that there was a different demeanor about Donald Trump during the transition process. It almost seemed like he was scared because of the way he was talking beforehand. I figured the first thing he would do is lock up the Clintons.
Well, I just had the opportunity to have an excellent conversation with President-elect Trump. It was wide-ranging. We talked about some of the organizational issues in setting up a White House. We talked about foreign policy. We talked about domestic policy. And as I said last night, my number one priority in the coming 2 months is to try to facilitate a transition that ensures our president-elect is successful. I have been very encouraged by the, I think, interest in President-elect Trump's wanting to work with my team.
So naturally, I looked up what the transition process consisted of, and mixed in with a bunch of political talk, I found the team Obama was referring to. In addition to the formal transition councils that the president established, the administration, for the first time, he also held formal transition planning meetings with smaller agencies, boards, and commissions across the government who are not otherwise represented on the two councils. This group, including more than 200 entities, has been engaged fully in the transition process. So pretty much, for the first time ever, a group consisting of more than 200 entities has been engaged fully in the transition process. Kind of a weird choice of words there, don't you think? An entity is defined as existence or a being. So now I want to talk about the Book of Enoch. In the first video I uploaded to this channel, I found that not everyone believes the Book of Enoch should be taken as fact. To that I would say, you must not believe the Bible then. And to those people out there that still don't believe in God, well, it took me 25 years to believe it. But this is for the people out there that trust in their Bibles. Why would it say here in Genesis chapter 5 that Enoch walked with God 300 years and had sons and daughters? So all the days of Enoch were 365 years, and Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Right there it is simply saying Enoch lived 365 years before God took him to heaven. With that being said, are we to believe that such a righteous man lived on the earth that long without writing something that would be helpful to future generations? Also, the Book of Enoch talks about how the fallen angels came down here and started sleeping with women.
The Book of Enoch offers a disturbing vision of the fall of the angels who lust after earthly women.
And they began to go into them and to defile themselves with them, and they taught them charms and enchantments, and they became pregnant.
These angels have crossed over this boundary that they shouldn't have. When they decided to descend upon earth, this unleashed upon the earth all sorts of problems. Not only these giants who are bloodthirsty and violent, but also these angels went on to teach humankind a variety of forbidden crafts. They also taught human beings how to make weapons of war.
That is exactly what Genesis chapter 6 is referring to. So why is the Book of Enoch important when talking about Donald Trump? Well, remember the team Obama had of 200 entities? Well, in the Book of Enoch, a group of 200 entities called the Nephilim, or fallen angels, came to the earth allegedly due to their attraction to human females. I think it is safe to assume that this group of entities met with Donald Trump, and that could be why no president in my lifetime has ever done what they said they were going to. Politicians lie about small things, but they also lie about big things. Like, I don't know, the earth being as flat as a pancake. During the election, Donald Trump said it, but no way he could after. And by letting these people get away with obvious lies, we are also letting these entities or fallen angels control our way of life. And honestly, I'm just about sick of it.